What's going on, sim racers? This is Larry at TJR Sim, looking at the test drive in the Road B cars today. And if you notice, as you go down the list up in the alphabet, basically the cars get slower. Actually, this is quite a few cars here to test drive, and it's kind of hard to pick a winner on this, to be honest. I mean, a lot of them were so much fun to drive. Zonda. I don't even know how you say this, but this Zonda Roadster, the Pagani, actually the most beautiful car to sit in out of this out of all these cars, of course, with all the carbon fiber bits and stuff. So a lot of fun to drive that car. But we'll go to the worst one first, the Jaguar XJ220. Being as an H pattern, it shifts real slow. It's got tons of oversteer. You end up fighting when you're coming out of the corners, and you're giving it, tons of understeer. When you're coming out of the corners, off the corners and giving it gas, it pushes a lot, and then you got to let off the gas and then get it to turn in and then back on the gas. So you're constantly fighting the front end to get the dang thing to turn. So it's the last place. It's the slowest, worst car to get. There's no aids on it, of course, which is not necessarily a bad thing. The mono has no aids on it, and I'm a whole lot faster out of that car, but it just handles so much better. If you think with a long wheelbase that this one would be pretty sturdy, and it may be just because Alton Park is such a technical, tight, twisty track, it's just not very conducive to this car. But with that said, the Enzo, GT, and all these other ones do work better. My fastest car out here is actually the Bach Mono. And track day cars are usually my favorite to play with. But yeah, the throttle management is your friend on this car here. It can get out sideways and bite you pretty quick. It's not the winner of the group because it just takes more discipline for you. And so this whole series is more about what's the easiest for you to get on track, play online, or win races offline, whichever you want, without crashing into everybody. I'll cover the the Lambos next, and I'm just going from basically worst, not really. I'm just jumping around honestly, but getting up to the best ones. The Veneno, I don't know however you say that, LP750-4. That one's actually pretty damn fast car. I'm turning a 143.899 out of that one. Only problem I didn't like about it, it had a little bit of vague steering and doesn't want to turn in at entry. So it's really hard to get this thing to turn in on entry. But it did have actually by far the best brakes out of all of them. And that was why I was able to actually turn a pretty good lap time with this one, is because the brakes were so good. And so you could really late brake and improve your lap times just off of braking alone, of course, depending if you have some clear track. So brakes the strongest out of all of them. Ventador, that one was a little bit blah to me. It was, I don't know, blah is a little harsh. It had some life to it, but just not as composed as the rest of them. Some understeer in it, coupled with some oversteer. It looks kick-ass, but interior wise I actually didn't like it either, but that wasn't really the focus of this. If they were just basing it off interior, the Zonda would win it all. But Lambos they're going to take some practice. The LP750 is definitely going to take some suspension tuning to get fast, if that is one of your favorite cars to drive around. 911 GT3 RS, I thought it was going to be my favorite because I tried it on so many other tracks, and it's very lively. It's commutative. It's got a little bit of a twitchy steering to it, being a short wheelbase. A lot of fun to drive this car, and for me, it's probably it's a tie with the Bach Mono for me, except that you actually have like traction control and all that stuff, so it's a little bit easier to drive than the Bach Mono. But it's not the fastest. The Mono is definitely way faster. And this one, the RS, the 911, turned a 144.220, so it was like my sixth fastest car. So the winners, it comes down now to the Enzo and the GT. This is almost, honestly, this is almost a tie. I go back and forth with these two. You can't go wrong with either one of these when you're trying to place the car where you want to at all times. The Ford GT is one of those cars that you can get hard off the corners, being that it has, I guess it has a little bit less horsepower, 600 to 645, but it puts the power to the ground really well, and you can jump off the corners really well. Actually, it's considerably lighter, 2890 to 3000. Well, not considerably. It's 110 pounds lighter, thereabouts. But so they're almost identical type platforms with this about the same wheelbase length. Both rear-wheel drive and stuff. Both have, of course, ABS, traction control, and that on there. It actually says it has stability control. Anyway. A lot of fun. The winner, though, was the Enzo, and basically just because of how well you can see, the spatial awareness on the Enzo was top-notch. You're able to see where you wanted to go on the track easily, look through the corners. It wasn't the fastest out on the track, but it was kind of the safest out there, and just because you could have such good spatial awareness. Ford GT, like I said, was almost my pick, and which was surprising because I didn't really care for this car and a lot of other games in the past. So, well, mainly the Forza series, I didn't care for it. But yeah, the Enzo is a really good car. So let's jump out on the track. Oh, and see the times. The Ford GT was my second fastest, actually a 142.127. And the Enzo was a 144.125, so 2 seconds off the pace, almost exactly 2 seconds off the pace between the two. But I think with some suspension tuning, you could easily make up, in a little bit of practice, you can easily make up those 2 seconds to the Ford GT out there. But let's test drive this one out real quick, turn a couple laps, and you can see what I'm seeing. Who's this Get EA3? Some funny names. Alright, just to show you options. Options, gameplay, we're running authentic. So however it was meant to come. Tuning setup. We were going to load the stable because this is really what, the easiest to not have to fiddle with. It does come with, too high of air pressures and all that stuff, but whatever. It's to kind of pick something quick and easy for y'all guys to get out there on the track. So look at this thing, it looks really good. Turn the lights on and off. Nice car. Sounds badass. What's a jump, boy? Pretty cool looking car. I like how you can see out of everything so well. You don't even have to do the look back feature. That's some good front end feedback there on this bumpy road. Cold tires. A little bit of stepping out, but nothing abrupt. Able to hold mid-corner really well, even with cold tires. That stability control kicking in, it has a weird feel to it. And it says authentic, even though on the display there it showed stability control, it didn't have it. But I have it set on as authentic, and stability control is there. So I don't know what that's about. But we'll leave it on authentic. Dances around a little bit. I like how you can easily just see what's in your mirrors while you're driving to the corners by just glancing up or glancing to the left to see your mirrors, your side mirrors. Dances going up that hill. Very communicative car. Has a good amount of equal kind of understeer and then oversteer, you know, about the same amount both ways. You can correct the understeer with a little bit of throttle management to get it to oversteer a little bit. Let's chase this down this Lambo. If you notice that graphical frame glitch, do y'all guys get that too? It's a little annoying. Got a run up on him there. Hopefully he didn't hit me. He took out cones instead. Ooh. Tap the tire off of the dirt there. Start to spin a little bit. But you can see how easy you're able to catch things when you do that. And that's what I mean. See, when you drive off track a little bit, it doesn't go crazy, start spinning out on you and stuff. When you make mistakes, it's not like a deal breaker for you. Which is kind of one of the reasons I like this car. Go too hot in here, not too big of a deal breaker. I'm not trying to drive perfect here, I'm just showing you some instances that if you're not quite paying attention, will the car get you in trouble? And it doesn't really get you in too much trouble. It's you're able to easily fix your mistakes and not cost you a ton of positions. Couldn't quite go as fast through there as those guys though. Fun car. Kind of in my way. This isn't Forza, guys, so you take your time. You don't bump and go. Dancing around there. Jumps off those corners pretty easy, pretty good. A good drive up that hill. Whoa, Nelly. A bit slower on this lap time than I would have been if I had a clear track. These guys are just a little bit in the way. You can tell the different attempts to get around them. Still able to maintain your car control pretty good. Got around that DT. Able to get on the gas a little bit quicker than that guy did on the Lambo. Probably because of the understeer problem on that car. And this Ferrari does have some understeer on it, but it's not too bad. It's partly why it keeps it a little bit safer for you, because it kind of like a real car. It gives you that false understeer, but if you push right past it, you'll see that it's a little bit, not as bad. Alright, not to make this video too long, that was my look. I'll cut it off when I pass the finish line there. Alright, what a fun car. Anyway, hope y'all enjoyed this road, look at the road B cars. Get out of the way here as they pass. Such a cool game. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what your favorite is out of the road B cars. Post it below. We'll see you later.